As Jordan and Justin Black and the rest from the Vanguard gathered around Kevin ingratiatingly, Dalton, Sebastian, and the others from the Foundation couldn't help but exchange glances. Kevin urged them not to reveal his identity, convincing the group gathered around him that his mentor, the Night King, wanted him to keep a low profile at this battle. Troy Evans, Dustin Newman, and the others finally broke free from the lightning that encircled them and rushed to confront Kevin for tricking them. Just as they approached him, the others from the Vanguard stepped forward to protect Kevin. Kevin coughed on purpose to clear his throat. He held his head high and said to Troy Evans, "Do you really think I am afraid of you? That was just to confuse you. I didn't want to expose my identity."
"Damn you. You still?"
Troy started to say. But before Troy could finish his sentence, someone covered his mouth and forced him to kneel on the ground. "At least you have good foresight. I will report to my mentor and ask him to go to Apex Island. At that time, you need only to tell him my name and your families will be safe and sound." Kevin was talking nonsense, but in a serious manner. However, he didn't have any other options. He was facing numerous level 5 warriors. If he didn't play along, he and Dalton and the others would be finished. Therefore, it wasn't easy for Kevin to keep up the charade either. He was not just playing with his own life, but with the lives of Dalton and the others too. If he was discovered, it would be over for all of them.
"Thank you, sir,"
the group said in unison as they quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. As for Troy Evans and the others, they were forced to do so.
"Jordan, what is going on?"
Troy saw an opportunity and asked in a low voice. Up until now, he was still confused. "Shh. Lower your voice. Don't let him hear you." Jordan was alert and suppressed his voice. "Do you remember the legend of Apex Island? He is the descendant of that legendary man."
"What?"
Troy narrowed his eyes and muttered in confusion. Then his eyes widened and he looked at Jordan in disbelief.
"You're talking about the one who killed so many with the Night Dagger? He crippled the Pinnacle for so many years after that. The man who left so easily that no one even dared to go look for him."
Troy sucked in a breath of cold air and asked. "That's right. It's him," Jordan said with a serious face. "Right now, the Night Dagger is in his hands. I saw it with my own eyes when I fought with him earlier." Dustin and the others heard this and were so shocked that their eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. "Troy, you and I have worked hard to get where we are now. We must not let our years of hard work go to waste because of a moment of impulse." Jordan tried his best to persuade him. Troy nodded in agreement and forced a smile on his face. He rubbed his hands and walked up in front of Kevin.
I'm sorry, sir. I was blind earlier and did not know your real identity. I don't deserve to even be in your presence. Please be magnanimous and have mercy on me," he pleaded. "Don't be so arrogant in the future. This time, trapping you behind the lightning was just a warning. Next time, it won't be," Kevin said as he reached out his hand to touch Troy's head. "Yes, sir,"
Troy said with an ugly smile on his face as if he had just eaten a handful of dog crap. He felt extremely aggrieved in his heart. He had never once been taught a lesson by one of his peers. If it weren't for the fact that he was afraid of the mighty figure behind Kevin, Troy wouldn't have been able to stomach the humiliation. "Jordan, come here for a moment," Kevin said as he turned around and waved his hand. He asked casually, "How many people are left from the Vanguard?" "Sir, according to the most recent information I have, there are only 4 people left. They should be fighting with a group from the Foundation," Jordan said respectfully. "How strong are they? How are they compared to you and your brother?" Kevin asked with a slight frown. "Sir, you might not know this, but those 4 are all extremely arrogant people. They are also the top experts from the Vanguard who are participating in this entire competition. Almost all of them are acting alone and their power bases are extraordinarily high," Jordan said. 4 people who were even stronger than Jordan and Justin Black. This wasn't good news. Kevin exchanged glances with Dalton and the others. They didn't even need to communicate to know that the rest of the people from the Foundation were in danger. No matter how many ways Calvin Morris could save his own life, he surely wouldn't be able to protect everyone. Kevin thought it through for a moment. Suddenly, he had a plan in his mind. It sounds like the power bases of the four of them are not bad. What are their families like? Kevin said casually, as if he didn't put much stake in the answer at all. After a brief moment of shock that Kevin would even ask such a question, Jordan quickly came back to his senses.
Sir, the four of them come from two different families. They are very powerful.
Jordan reported everything in detail.
Compared to our family, they are slightly more powerful. Only the Evans family is really on their level.
Hearing this, Kevin looked at Troy Evans with some surprise. It seems like there are a lot of powerful and talented people among you now. I think it's necessary for me to inform my mentor when I return. Ask him to visit Apex Island when he has the time, he said, before adding, it would also save some people from their own greed and from forgetting the pain after the scar is healed. After all, there must be consequences to disturbing the peaceful life of everyone in the Foundation. These words frightened Troy Evans and made him break out in a cold sweat. They had heard from the older generations that blood flowed like rivers in the past. Even several level 5 assassins would not be enough to stop him. If it were to happen again, would the blood of their people be on their hands for failing to stop it now?
Sir, you really like to joke around.
Jordan wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said with a smile, I am not joking with you, Kevin said bluntly. He saw that the stage was almost set, and then he said, actually, what happens when the time comes will depend on a lot of different factors. The people in front of him were not fools. They could understand the threat in Kevin's words. He was reminding them that it was best to know their rightful place in this war between these two great powers. Otherwise, the Pinnacle might not even be around to protect them in the future. None of the members of the Vanguard who were present were old by any stretch of the imagination. All of them had their own hopes and dreams for the future. If the person behind Kevin really wanted to massacre their home again, how many of them could survive? No one could give an answer to this question. When that man slaughtered the people of Apex Island, the high and mighty Pinnacle never asked about it. They just watched the show like outsiders. Since then, the Pinnacle had become more and more ruthless over the years. Looking at Jordan and the others who were now completely silent, Kevin could not help but sneer. He did not want the people in front of him to change sides immediately. He just needed to stimulate the thoughts in their hearts and minds. As the saying goes, it's not hard to see someone's true colors if you just wait long enough for them to show you. He wanted to use the people of Apex Island against each other to cause internal strife among them. It wouldn't cause any trouble for the Foundation, and the more discord within the enemy, the better. I don't mean to be so depressing. I heard that the Vanguard wasn't like this in the past. I'm just curious. Are you really willing to be a subordinate of the Pinnacle? Do you really feel like you're on equal footing with the people calling the shots? Kevin asked earnestly.
Sir, you may not know this, but the Pinnacle is too powerful. After all these years of development, even if we wanted to oppose the higher-ups, we wouldn't stand a chance, Jordan said as he slowly lowered his head. His tone was filled with helplessness. No. The Pinnacle isn't invincible. Thinking back to my own ancestors, they shed their blood and sacrificed their lives to defend the freedom of the Foundation and expelled the Pinnacle from their land. If we can do it, don't tell me that your people can't do it. Where there's a will, there's a way, Kevin said as he tried to persuade him with a determined look.